Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am so excited to sit down and share some fall eyeshadow palettes with you. Listen, I know this is one that everyone does this time of year, but it's also one that we all love to watch. Am I right? Hit the like button if you love seeing all of the fall eyeshadow palettes as well. Now, I went through my collection. I should probably have pulled them up here. I went through my collection and tried to pull out some palettes that I just haven't been giving enough love to. It's a mix of palettes that I've known and loved in fall, and I would say a mix of palettes that I honestly have just sort of forgotten about recently, but they're all ones that I know and love. There's one that I haven't used yet. Or if I did, it was only once and I need to use it more. So get ready to hang out with me. If you want to be inspired to use the makeup that you already have, some of these might be reminders of gems that you already have in your collection. There are a couple newer things. There are a couple things that you can't get anymore, which is just sort of how I roll. I don't know about all of you, but it's like, yes, I want to pull out some of the new things. I want to pull out some of the things that I've forgotten about, some of the tried and trues. And so I have a little mix of that here for you. I will also list down below in the description my previous fall picks. I honestly didn't check that list out to see if I have any repeats here, but if I did, it means that I love them and was reaching for them. I am honestly really excited to take these and set them out here. I have just been in sort of an eyeshadow rut. Anybody else recently? I literally this morning, actually, I was like sitting here. I had to get ready. I was doing a virtual class and I was like, I literally was like looking at stuff. I opened stuff up and I was like, nope, don't want to wear that. Nope, don't want to wear that. Today is the first day I feel like we are actually tipping into fall. It's like 65, kind of breezy. You know, the weather here in Wisconsin is kind of been going up and down. And so I've really struggled with dipping into fall makeup, but I was ready for it today. And one of the palettes in here is what I have in my eyes, and it might be one that you're not thinking about for this season. So let's go ahead and get into this without further ado. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Speaking of subscribing, if you love a good fall roundup, please don't forget to hit that button because today is my fall favorites filming day. I am also, while I love talking about fall eyeshadow palettes, I really think that we miss out on some opportunities with other color on the face. And I know that this fall is going to be the season of blush and lip color for me. So I'm going to be doing, I was actually planning on doing a lip and cheek color video together, but as I started rummaging through my drawers, I was like, I don't want this to be a 45-minute video. So I'm going to split it up into two. I hope that they aren't 45 minutes anyway. I'm really hoping not to do that. This video is going to be 45 minutes if we don't get going. All right, so let's start out. It's interesting because I have two palettes in here from a lot of brands. So like 2 packs of several brands. This is one that I don't have a 2-pack of in here, although I actually do have 2 palettes from this brand now, and I think they could both work for fall, but we're going to go with the one that is a bit deeper and a bit more jewel toned. This is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. Now this was sent to me in PR. I will, by the way, notate what has been sent and what I purchased myself. I did a video with a couple looks on this palette and it is absolutely beautiful. Now, honestly, the thing that I was so surprised about when I used these is the beauty of the mattes in here. I just thought that they performed really well. The shimmers are, of course, totally stunning. I mean, I think that another thing about this is that you have some neutrals, you have some cool tones. You don't necessarily have a lot of warm tones, at least not in the mattes, but you do have some that have like a beautiful reflect in the shimmer. So I'm just going to swatch a couple here. And honestly, for me, fall isn't necessarily just about one color story. It's about a vibe. You know, it's about a vibe. And this to me is sort of that colorful, yet not grungy, but maybe desaturated, I guess is the word. It's not like grungy as in sort of grayed out tones, but it is a little bit like softer, more muted. So, I mean, I think that these, like, while colorful, are definitely a bit muted. So I'm really here for that. So if you haven't tried out What's Up Beauty, honestly, I've been very pleasantly surprised. Again, this was sent in PR, but you know that I always keep my opinions very, very honest with all of you. So that was one of my first picks. And one of the other things that I love about this palette is the size of it. Now, honestly, I am totally here for a little mini sized palette like this that still has a lot of options. I'm a girl that, like, I really want 10 to 12 shades, honestly. I really want 10 to 12 shades to be in my happy comfort zone. And the fact that these pans are just a little bit smaller makes that happen. There is no wasted space in here. You still get a mirror. Like, how perfect is that? So I don't know. I know that I talked about the size of this being nice, but this is one that I could easily throw in my travel bag. And it's also one that I could incorporate into using with another palette if I did want some like shifty shimmers. So really love this one. So thanks to What's Up Beauty for that. All right, so now here would be a good option for some pairability, and actually two tiny little palettes. So this is the Petite Matte Dark palette from Viseart. Sorry, flip-flopped that. So this is absolutely a fall color lover's dream. Look at that. I mean, and again, lots of options, a little bit of space. Listen, y'all, if you love eyeshadow as much as I do, if you have as many eyeshadow palettes as I do we need pans the size of our face? No, we do not. We are never going to use those. We are never going to use up an entire palette that has shades that size. So we should be fine with palettes that have like smaller amounts. So I think that this would actually be a really good combo, right? Like, check that out. I mean, you could pair some of those more murky, dusty shades with the very saturated tones in here. See? So that's what I'm saying. Two little power palettes. I should probably do another power couples video. Missed opportunity there. So here we go. Power couple, baby. By the way, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I did a video where I paired two palettes together to create one ultimate super combo. So I'll make sure to have that video linked down below as well. It's just a way to like feel fresh about the makeup that you have and pair two color stories together to like get a whole brand new one. So this would be a power couple right here. I am just saying. Oh, I should probably swatch some of these here for you. I do not use my Viseart palettes nearly enough. So that is honestly exactly why I pulled this one out. I knew that I was pulling this one out. When I opened up my drawer, I was like, oh my gosh, where is that little itty bitty Viseart color story? I didn't even remember the name of it. I just knew that I wanted to pull it out. So I am definitely glad to be reaching for this one now. Let's see, what should we grab? You know what? I'm gonna go for this blue here. Oh my gosh, this navy would be absolutely pretty. So just absolutely so gorgeous. Now I do find that the Viseart mattes are one of those formulas that you can build up, which I appreciate. So I find that swatches are just like softer sometimes, but you really can get a lot of intensity from these. And probably my hands are hella dry. I'm not gonna lie. So definitely excited to have this one. And this is a palette that I had zero intention of ever owning. Zero intention. It came in my Beautylish Lucky Bag this last year. This is the Violette Vespertine Entendu palette, and I was not sure about this. I had a lot of encouragement from all of you, from some friends that were like, you need to try this palette. So I actually fell quite in love with it. And if you know me, purples aren't exactly like my first reach, but these dusty violet, you sort of got a little bit of mauve, you definitely have a strong purple in here. This color story just screams to me that like fall nights, you know, cool nights, maybe date night when you're looking for something that's a little smoky, a little moody. Absolutely here for it. So I was glad that I listened to all of you and decided to keep this one. And I will say, I actually used it quite a bit when I got it in my Lucky Bag, and then just sort of put it away once spring had come and it was time for some brighter colors. So now I'm excited to pull it back out. I mean, you can just see, hopefully you can see. Again, we've got these moody colors. I'm just gonna go with moody. That's going to be the word for today. I can already tell. All right, so Violette Vespertine. All right, would you all like to know what I have on my eyes today? Let me actually zoom you in for a moment so you can see. Hopefully you can see. I bet you aren't going to guess. I bet it is not going to be an automatic as to what this palette is. It's the Sigma Little Mermaid palette. Who would have thought? I told y'all when I did that video, I was like, honestly, right away when I thought Little Mermaid, I thought oceanic, I thought like beach vibes. I was thinking like wrong season to be launching this in Sigma. Honestly, that's what I was thinking. And then when I used it, I was like, hold on, wait a minute, because the palette is absolutely perfect. And I did stick to this side of the color story when I did that video. So if you want to see another look using this palette, you can go ahead and check that out. But I did say I was ready to use the warm and toasty shades, and here we are. This is definitely like that beautiful autumnal look. I obviously have the 2 shimmers here on and then use the 2 warmer mattes. And this went on really easily. I will say the shimmer shade here, that little like multi-chrome, it was a bit flaky on the brush. It wasn't flaky on the eye. Clearly it smoothed out really nicely, but I did have to make sure to use a wet brush and go over it a bit. So I would say if you're gonna use this shade, maybe do your eye makeup first and then your face. That being said, I didn't end up with any fallout. I was worried that I was going to. As long as I got my brush wet enough, it was fine. But absolutely love this one. This was sent to me, and you can use my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL. I am an affiliate with Sigma. Like I said, I honestly was kind of like, why are they putting this out now? But then I put it on my face and I was like, I get it, Sigma, I get it. So definitely a recommend for me. Again, this is another one that's a really nice size. How many shades do we have in here? 14 shades. Yeah, see, that's like perfect. So we have a mirror. We have 14 shades. Like in this one, I think we must have 10 shades. So perfect. Just, I'm really liking these slim palettes. Like, I don't need more. I don't need more doodles on the inside. I don't need more space. I don't need diamond patterns. Just give me a good amount of shadows in a small amount of space, please. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to another one that I have a duo of. I'm not going to stick on this one for too long. Now, this is a palette that I have actually been using the entire end of summer. I have used this one so much, and I absolutely plan to keep going with it this fall. It's my favorite. Yeah, it's probably my favorite Natasha Denona, the Metropolis palette, y'all. I just can't get enough of this one, and I know that she's been around the block. She has been around the block, but I actually pulled this one out this late summer to sort of get my itch scratched for those warm shades when the I Need a Warm palette came out. Now, the undertone in this is not necessarily the same. You do have some similar shades, but it's not quite the vibe. But I was able to get my warm toasty shades, and I think moving into fall, you've got these beautiful greens, you've got the reds. If you want to do a navy, you could totally rock that. Like, this palette is everything. I truly think that other than spring, if like pastels or like lighter shades are your jam, this is a at least tri-season palette, and it is just gorgeous. Obviously, you can't get this one anymore. I would not be surprised if at some point Natasha Denona makes a flip of the script on this one and does something for those people that missed out on it. But you can't get it right now, but I know a lot of us have this. So absolutely love this. This has definitely been a favorite in this last month, and I have a feeling it's going to be a favorite into fall. All right, another Natasha Denona palette, and this one I think is so ideal for this time of year if you're like me and you really have a hard time making up your mind with which way you want to go with a color story. So this is, of course, the My Dream palette. And in this time of year, I'm like, do I want some like berry, mulberry, like deep moody shades, or do I want like warm toasty? Well, in this one, I can have it all. I can have them both. So really absolutely love this. I just realized that I did not swatch Metropolis, but if you need to see some Metropolis swatches, there's about a bajillion videos on YouTube, I'm sure. So again, like I said, you've got some cool tones. You have some nice warm tones in here. I can already tell you, like, the shades that I use a lot. The one thing that I do have to be careful with in here is the two, I don't know, creamy matte, cream to powder. One's probably one, one's probably the other in here. One of them, I cannot remember, but I know that one of them you have to be a little careful with when you're blending it, because it can just kind of like keep going and going. Ooh, hello, fringe. Keeps going and going, and then like all of a sudden you look like you have a black eye, but I am willing to risk that, and I just use a small brush and a light hand. So I just love the fact that this just gives me everything I could possibly want. And you know, like I said, for those days that I'm not sure which way I want to go with it, yeah, it must be, it's not the deeper one, it's the lighter one in here. Hold on. All right, I'm having a hard time pulling these up with my finger, which is to be expected. I really don't like actually swatching those that often with my finger, so now I'm probably gonna have to go over with a brush. But it's fine, the things we do for our channels. So, this is great. Again, we've got that berry tone, we've got some warmer tones in here. I, of course, swatch most of the berries, but oh, I just love this one. I was really excited when this palette came out, used it quite a bit, and then just like always happens in our makeup collections, right? We get something put in a drawer and then we don't use it for a while. So this one is going to be coming out this fall. Are you like me and you just get so excited about fall makeup that like you never use everything that you were planning on using because it's like there are just so many pretty fall color stories or color stories that I'm in the mood to use for fall? I just, every year, I'm like, oh, missed opportunities. So I'm going to try not to have that this year, which is why I'm excited to be doing this video now so that I can have all of these popped out on my vanity to be using in the upcoming weeks. All right, I just realized that I never like zoomed out when I was chit-chatting about the Little Mermaid on my eyes. I just like to be out a little further because it's a bit brighter so you can see better. So this one, I was reminded to, thanks to the chat in my friend Kara from Beauty and the Frizzes. She did her fall favorites video. By the way, I'll have hers linked down below if you're curious. And we were all just kind of like sharing palettes that we knew we needed to pull out for the fall. And Aging Ophelia in the chat, by the way, if you're watching this, thank you, because I owe this to you because I probably would have forgotten about this one, mentioned Juvia's Place, The Warrior. And I was like, I need to pull out the Nomad. I need to pull out the Nomad. I actually almost pulled out Warrior 2 for this one, but I can't not pull this one out because of these shimmers, because they are just so pretty. If you still have this one in your collection, oh my gosh, pull it out. It's everything I need for fall. I've got a fun mustardy yellow, maybe not mustardy. It's like if you mix Dijon and classic yellow mustard together, that's what I would say. I love this toasty shade here. These two shimmers just totally give me life. It's got green. What else could I want? So absolutely excited to use that one. And I have not used, I actually think that the Warrior 2 palette and this palette are the only ones that I kept from Juvia's Place in my palette declutter. And I haven't been using them, so I really need to. So excited to have that one. Okay. So going from a palette that I'd used quite a bit and sort of forgot about to a palette that I keep wanting to use and keep not using. This one might have been an honorary mention in my summer palettes and maybe in my shame spot where it's like, I haven't used this one and I really need to use this one. But here's the thing. I just didn't reach for it if it was, and truly, I don't think of this as a summer color story. So this is Summer Days. The reason for me that this doesn't work as a summer palette is it is so deep. It's so deep. So I did get the deep version because by the time I got online when they were doing the sale on these, the light version was already gone, and I just gave into the FOMO. I probably should have skipped on it, but I just gave into the FOMO and picked it up. This is gorgeous. It's just a lot of deep shades because I know that Sydney Grace, for me, a lot of the mattes show up deeper on the eye than they do even in the pan. So let's go ahead and swatch a few of these. Oh, I mean, you just can't get mad at a Sydney Grace matte, can you? I mean, you can't really get mad at a Sydney Grace shimmer either, right? Oh, I missed a finger here in swatching the last palette. So let me go ahead and get a couple here. Oh my gosh, this, yes, yes. So now that I'm swatching some of these shades, sure, this really does work as a summer palette, but the depth of it is totally going to make me more likely to use this in the winter. What I am considering doing is popping out a couple of these shades and maybe adding in a Sydney Grace matte in a lighter formula. I'm like swatching a lot of these, but I'm trying, as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to decide which one I might pull out to swap with a different shade. Okay, so here are, I mean, this is pretty. This is absolutely pretty, but I don't think I need both this shade, which is Cherry Picking, and Daystar, which is here. So I could totally see if I were even just to take one shade like this Cherry Picking out of here, because it's more of a, it's kind of a, not weird as in bad, but weird as in unique. It's sort of a dusty, plummy brown, but I feel like this is almost just like a deeper version of that with a bit of charcoal in here. So I think I might take out Cherry Picking, this one here, and pop in a different shade. So stick around with me if you want to see some palette surgery at the end of this video, because I think I might do that while we're all together and just flip up this palette just a little bit. Yeah, because then I think that would be good. I almost feel like I'm going to swatch this other shade, Sandcastle. Okay, so that's the one that I just put on the bottom there. Yeah, see, I think just changing this one out for another color, maybe like, I don't know, a warmer matte or something. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see at the end. So stick around with me if you want to see that happen. All right, definitely need to clean up some swatches. Thank you for sticking with me through the process. I hope you enjoy that, you know, because I think we all do that. We'll pull out a palette and it's like, you know, if you get stuck, why not just break it apart, right? If you have a lot of Sydney Gray shades, if you like have other shades that you know fit in pans, why not do it? I know that I also have my little companion palette here, which I over time kind of like add and remove shades. So this still has my summer picks in it. So obviously I pulled these yellows in and this like sparkly shade here. But this is a palette that I pull out when I feel like my other palettes are lacking a little bit. So I need to put together my fall version of my companion palette. And then that way I've got like an inner corner shade that I know I can always use. Cause like clearly this doesn't have it. This one doesn't have an inner corner that I can use. So I definitely need to do that as well. Let me know if you'd like to see a fall winter version of a companion palette for myself. I know I'm always like, I'll link that below, but I will link down below my original companion palette video in case you kind of want to know the inspiration behind that and all the details. I would say about half of the shades in here are the same. And then I've just kind of like rotated out throughout time. Okay, moving on. So going from one Sydney Grace palette that I haven't touched to one that I've actually used quite a bit, and I think that it's going to be perfect for this time of year, is the Unbreakable Bond palette. And the reason that I think that this is so great for right now is you have a little mix of everything. We have some nice neutral shades, some peachier leaning shades, some like rosy, mauvey, mulberry shades. We have some nice earthy blues if you're into like a blue smoky eye. You've got a beautiful silver here, like shades that you could take this one palette. I think that the only thing that this is missing is like green tones, right? But other than that, you've got pretty much everything. You don't have a lot of like warm shades. This is a little bit cooler leaning palette, but let's face it, a lot of fall palettes are all about the warm tones, and I definitely have enough of that in here. So this would be great to pull out when I'm looking for a little bit of a different vibe. So let's pull out Sweater Weather, right? Because who doesn't love talking about sweater weather in the fall? And I'm going to take Tiara. Obviously, that's a very well-known shade. All right, so here's just a mix of colors. Like, look, I mean, I'm absolutely going to use Sweater Weather this fall. Like Sweater Weather, Sun Poisoning, those would be a great combo. Add a little bit of this one, which is Cleveland. I mean, just such a good combination. So definitely one that I'm going to get more use out of this fall. And I mean, truly, actually, I guess, if I really wanted to, it's a little bit much to have out on my vanity, but I could do these two together because you've got some lighter tones in here. I'm still going to do some palette surgery, y'all. I'm still going to do that, but I could pair those together. All right, so this is the only palette that I have in from this brand because technically this is the only actual palette that they've done. And it is the Fantasia palette from Divina Cosmetics. Now, this was originally launched as an exclusive full palette, so you could not get these colors individually. I do want to say that they just announced recently that they are opening up the singles to purchase on their own. So if you were drooling over one or two of the shades in here, but you didn't want the whole thing, you can now get these individually, which is really exciting. I personally love the entire palette. There are shades in here that I didn't think that I was really going to get, you know, as much use out of, but I've loved every single shade that I've used in here. So I do have a video on this full palette on my channel as well. I think I did eye swatches of all of the shimmers. So this is just so beautiful. Now, I think my baby in this palette is definitely the Single Ember Rain. This is such an easy, like, when I'm just like not sure what I want to do, I can easily pull this one out and be like, yep, that's gonna work. Like, it is just such a pretty shade. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. It's this murky coral base with a ton of this super reflective but very micro fine shimmer. You've got some almost like teal blue, you have some lavender in there. Of course, you see the base of that like murky coral I'm gonna go with. Oh, it's just so pretty. But what I love in here, aside from the beautiful shimmers, is the mattes. They are definitely, I mean, Divina does grungy and murky so well. Now, I'm not gonna pull these out to see the shades, but they are all like a little bit just like that, like dusty muted. So we've got two of them right there. Like you can see even that like peachy shade, that is that soft kind of murky, and then a beautiful like dusty, violety, purple gray. We're going to go with that. So definitely some beautiful shades in here. So give it a look on the website. Also, you can check out the singles individually now that they are available. So that's very exciting. I saw that Davina is launching a new collection for the season. And I am expecting that it is going to be singles and not the entire palette. Like, it looks like there's a beautiful palette with some really cool spooky artwork on it, but I think it's going to be released as a collection and not as a palette only. So keep your eye out for that as well. All right, by the way, my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL, which is not affiliated, will work on some things. I don't know if it'll work on the Fantasia shades, but why not give it a go? Also, while you're there, pick up an eye base because they're amazing. All right, my last two. Now, I saved these for the end, partially because I know that these are going to be in a lot of people's videos, but I couldn't not put them in because they're in for a good reason. And these are, of course, two of my faves from Nomad Cosmetics. We have, of course, Hudson Valley and Ghost Town, USA. Absolutely love these. So since we just got done with a murky cool tone, let's jump over into the warm toasty shades. This just makes my basic bitch fall vibes, sipping on a coffee, not pumpkin spice though, that makes me gag, but like sipping on a coffee, driving down the road, seeing the leaves, going to an apple orchard, wearing my boots and my sweater. I'm here for it. And this is the vibe. This is the vibe. These colors, absolutely stunning. Nomad did send this over to me. I do have a discount, KEEPBEAUTYREAL, which will save you 10%. It is not affiliated in any way, but I absolutely love this palette. Like, this is just so pretty. If I could change anything about this palette, it would be to have one more row of shimmers. I don't want to give up any of the shades in here necessarily, but I just want more shimmers in here. But I can very clearly pull that out of my companion palette. So not a complaint there. It's just like I love having a few more shimmers in my palettes, but all of those shades are perfection. Ghost Town, USA. We love it. I mean, this is definitely in my top 3 cool toned palettes that I own. Yep, gonna say it. I mean, I love the shimmers. I think the mattes are perfection. I'm just here for this. I am so here for this. Yesterday, nope, not yesterday. I didn't wear liquid makeup yesterday. It must have been Saturday. Whatever the last day was that I wore makeup, I really wanted to use this palette, but it was like 80 degrees out. We went from a little cooler. I was like, yes, tomorrow's going to be Ghost Town, USA. And then I woke up and it was like 80 and I was like, nope. I could have used this one, I guess, technically. Could have pulled out a warm toasty look from that one, but I'm just excited to use this one. You can see this is genuine. This is genuine appreciation of this palette. So absolutely love it. I always love doing these videos. Okay, so that is my set of fall eyeshadow palettes. Now I'm going to pull out my Sydney Grace matte singles and we can do some palette surgery. So get ready. The doctor's in. All right, so I have pulled out my warm side of my Sydney Grace mattes here. And we have this little color story. So trying to decide, I definitely want something that leans a little bit warmer because I feel like these colors in here lean a little bit into that cooler side of these browns. So almost like, I mean, I can see it. I hope that you can all see it. Like, now granted, as a hairdresser, I see warm. Warm to a hairdresser is much more extreme than warm to an average person, I feel like. If there are any hairdressers out there, hit me up and let me know. But like, we see neutral and other people see like, that's like a little warm. It's like, no, it's actually neutral. It's just not cool. So to me, these, like, you've got a little bit of like, almost again, that like violety underbase in these. These are really... and this one is warm, obviously. This one is almost that pinky neutral, which to me, pink is cooler. I mean, technically it's diluted red, which is warmer, but if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. So let's pull out something that's got some warm toastiness. I am a little nervous because I have never done palette surgery to these palettes. I'm hoping that the singles come out. So I guess I should first try to get this little guy out of here. I'm gonna grab my magnet. Let's see if it's gonna come up easy. Oh, oh, oh. Easy peasy. Thank you, Sydney Grace. Okay, so I am, for posterity's sake, Kelly, in the future, you're putting this shade in the other side of your cool tones in this collection. I will later mark it, hopefully. Maybe I'll just put SD on the back or something for summer days. All right, so now we've got a blank spot here. So I want something lighter. That is the whole point of this. So I'm thinking either All Mine or Red Start. And All Mine is the light version. Let's look at both of these in here. We might as well, right? Okay, so I just stuck my finger into camping. That's great. Here is that with the All Mine. I feel like that's a really good combo. Just because it is a little bit lighter. But it also would be fun this way. I'm going to swatch both of these colors next to each other just so you can kind of see. I'm not going to swatch the whole palette again. That would be kind of silly. If I had thought that I was going to be doing palette surgery on this, I would have waited till the end so I had the previously done swatches on my hand. So there are the two shades. You know what? I think I'm going to go... I like the contrast here, but I think I'm actually going to go with All Mine just because it is just a little... It's a little closer to the vibe of the rest of the palette, and I feel like if I use it with these other like quite cool tones, like here, it would still work okay. So I think that's going to be what we do. All right, I'm excited about this. So thank you for joining me. I'm glad that I didn't annihilate this palette, and I do think that just having that little bit of a shift in the colors that are in here is really going to help me. So really excited for that. Let me know your thoughts. Hopefully this inspires you to tweak your palettes if you feel the need to do so. And thank you to my friend Kara for inspiring me to do that. I know that she has some palettes that she's done that in. I know that a lot of people do that, but I'm just like, I'm not brave, and I am also not really a rule breaker. So when it's like, no, this came like this, I'm just always like, ooh, but I need to do that. There are a couple other palettes that I really need to go into and like change some stuff around. Mainly the Sydney Grace and Temptalia palettes. I really need to go in and change those around and add some things. Also the Glaminatrix U Beauty. In Kara's video she was talking, maybe it was our September video that we did together, our BYOP for the month. She pulled out a miscellaneous shade and she's like, this might be from U Beauty, because I disassembled that palette and I was like, I need to do the same. I love all the shades in there, but when I open that palette up, it just seems like somebody dropped a bunch of shadows on the floor and like picked them up and shoved them in that palette, because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this color story. Okay, well now we're just getting rambly, and I said that I wasn't going to do that. If this video is 45 minutes long, please help me, but it also would really help me if you'd like this video, if you enjoyed. All right, lovelies, that's going to be it for today. Let me know your fall palette picks down below, and also let me know, are you doing palette surgery this season? I would love to know, and I will see you really soon.